You forgot your straddle again. You just like literally ignore me every time I tell you to put on the 6.
I got up and left deliberately.
Twice. Yeah. You actually did it deliberately.
He's gonna get more.
I'm tilted, yeah. I'm really tilted. There's like no way of getting even now. People are folding the nut flush. Whatever. Can't rep anything. Alright, I give up. I got ace high. What are you gonna do if you miss?
You would have taken it.
Alex, chips!
Next time these straddlers raise it, I'm going to re-raise.
Yeah, get these young whippersnappers, Tony.
They're doing all these weird
Get
moves.
these young whippersnappers.
They're doing all these weird
They're doing these weird moves, the raise move. It's a very weird move. Yeah. I mean, like half an hour earlier, I just wouldn't even consider putting it in. Like, it's got to be like fucking kings every time. Like, my hand's not even that good, but whatever. A $25 balance. Hey, what's up guys? It's Dahni here and welcome back to another poker video. Happy New Year to all, and sorry I haven't been posting too many poker videos recently. I've just taken a little bit of a break over the holiday period, you know, just to relax and unwind, but we're looking to get back into the rhythm now. We've got a few more videos to pump out. In this video, we're recapping a session that we played mid-December, the standard 1-3, 400 maximum formats. Just a reminder, if you are enjoying these poker videos, please be sure to like and subscribe to follow future videos and support the channel. It'd be much appreciated. And without further ado, let's get right into the hands. Alright, first hand, ace-9 suited. In the small blind, there's an under the gun limp, under the gun +1 opens to 15, and the hijack calls. We go ahead and make the call here, and under the gun also completes. So 4 ways to a flop, and the flop comes 9-3 deuce with a flush draw on board. I check it over to the aggressor, who checks back, and it checks around. So the turn comes an ace, which gives us top 2 pair, but also puts a second flush draw on board. So in this instance, we look to lead out here, try and deny equity or charge draws, and our opponents all fold to our bet of $40. So we take this one down. Next hand, blind vs blind, ace-5 suited, and we open at $10 when it folds around to us and the big blind defends. The flop comes down ace-jack 4, and when our opponent checks to us, I actually check back for a bit of deception. So I'm just thinking that, you know, we're opening every button here. It's nice to have some strong hands in our check back range just to maintain a little bit of balance. So the turn is a 7, it brings a flush draw, our opponent checks, and finally this is the time to start betting. Go ahead and bet $10, and our opponent calls. The river is a 9, and I go ahead and make another half pot sized bet, pretty much just reeling for a call here, and our opponent does call with Jack 8 offsuit, so top pair takes it down. Next hand, we're playing 1-3-10, and I look down at ace queen suited in under the gun +1. Go ahead and make it 30 to go, and the player on our left physically wakes up like he's actually just like, you know, one of the players you'd run into on a Tuesday morning at a casino, you know, reading his newspaper. So he physically wakes up and makes the call. So I'm on high alert here. I think his range is pretty much going to be like 10s plus. So it folds around, we go heads up to a flop, and that flop comes down ace-9-6. So it appears to be a pretty good flop for us. I go ahead and c-bet for $35. I'd probably be doing this with range, and our opponent quickly calls. Again, this is like a really tight opponent here, so I don't know if I can go for 3 straights here and get called by a worse hand. I still am on a little bit of high alert. He would play like, you know, ace-king the exact same way, probably still can have like kings, queen, jacks. So, you know, I do figure we're in pretty good shape at this point. The turn's another ace, and we have trip aces, so really good spot. Again, I'm not sure if we can get 3 straights from worse, so I go ahead and actually check, and he checks back. The intention here is to reevaluate to see that if he would bet the turn, he very well may have, you know, ace-king. If he checked back, we could probably get a decent-sized river bet against, you know, kings, queens, jacks. So that was the intention behind checking the turn. The river is an offsuit deuce, complete blank, and given that he checked back the turn, we go ahead and make a pretty small value bet here, betting 65 into this reasonably large pot, and he goes ahead and makes the call. So we table our ace-queen, and it's good. He has pocket kings, and we were right to be suspicious. And I think we played this okay given his actual hand. Should he have somehow turned up with like ace-jack or something, we would be feeling pretty bad about our line, but given he had kings, I think we played this hand okay. Next hand's another really small one. It's actually a limped pot. We look down at king 10 suited in the big blind and check our option. I think we're about 5 ways here. Flop comes down king 8-8, and one of the opponents bets $10, and we check call that bet. The turn is a queen, so the board reads king 8-8 queen, and after we check, she actually checks back, and at this point she's capped. So when the river is an ace, I think we should just bomb it here. But instead of bombing it, I only bet 25 into what's a pot of, like 45. I really wish I'd bet, closer to 40, 45 and really put pressure on her kings, which I pretty much know that she has at this point when she checks back turn. So unfortunately, we bet a little bit smaller than ideal, and she called and we chopped it up versus her king 6. So it's just one of those hands that I look back on and just be like, okay, I could put like way more pressure on here. I'm going to do that next time. So just something to keep in mind. Alright, it's time for a bump pot. They're fun, right? 9-handed action, everyone sees the flop, and this one we're playing a double board bump pot. So there's two boards here. The top board reads king 6 jack with 2 diamonds, and the bottom board reads queen queen 5 with 2 hearts. So we look down at king 6 of hearts, which is top and bottom pair on the top board and a flush draw on the bottom board. It's a really, really strong hand. Checks around to us, and we bet $50 into the $90 pot, and a short stack with 150 back calls the $50 bet. So they've only got 100 left. The turn on the top's a brick, it's like a deuce, and the bottom it's a queen, putting trips on the board. So we're effectively committed at this point. I go ahead and put the last 100 in, and our opponent makes the call. Top board runs out of brick, and the bottom board runs out of 4th queen, putting quads on the bottom board. And our opponent shows ace king, so they have 1 pair on the top, and I guess quads with the nut kicker on the bottoms. But unfortunately, no, we can't scoop. We go ahead and chop, and we make a small profit from the hand, but a little bit unfortunate that we couldn't take this one down.
Alright, chop.
For this hand, it is triple straddled. It's 1, 3, 6, 12, 24. And most of the table's 300 effective. We're about 600-700 effective here, and I look down at ace queen suited in the first position. So clearly going to be playing this hand. The only question is, do we just like open ship on the field, or do we just make an open here? And the answer I picked was to open to 60, so like a 2.5x open, just to technically give ourselves fold equity here, but we're probably not going to be raising many hands that's going to raise fold to a jam. As played, it folds around to the first straddler, pretty good player, who goes ahead and shifts in $280. So it's a clear snap call for us. We go ahead and make the call, and yeah, we run 2 boards. He asks if we have a pair, we say no. He shows his 7s, and we show ace queen. The first board runs out king high with no ace or queen, and the second board runs out jack high. So unfortunately, we cannot connect at all. So we double up our opponent, and we're back to even. We were winning quite a bit, but yeah, back to even after this pot. So very unfortunate series of events there that lead us to that loss. Alright, this next hand is definitely what I would consider to be the hand of the night. Unfortunately, I only have post-flop footage for this hand. The context here is that this pot was playing 1-3-12, and the player on my right limped in middle position. He's a reasonably loose player. We go ahead and isolate him to $45. The straddler calls, and the loose player also completes. So 3 ways to a flop. We have king queen of diamonds. Did I even mention that? I even know. The flop comes down 10-7-4 with 2 diamonds. So 2 overs and a flush draw for us. They both check to me. I go ahead and c-bet for $70, and the straddler jams on me. He's got about 250 effective. And yeah, absolutely going to be calling this bet, but immediately afterwards, the loose player on our right also just snap all-ins, and he's got a little bit more. He's got 525, so that's a large bet. So it's about 450 more back to us to call here, and the real question is, what's the second player isolating this all-in with? And how does king queen of diamonds perform against that hand? Does he have any worse flush draws here? I go into the tank for a very, very long time, and strictly because of the fact that he's such a maniac, I give him the action here. I think he can have some worse flush draws. He can have maybe even ace 10. He can have the sets, probably 7s and 4s only, not 10s, but even then, I think he just has a lot of other speculative holdings, and given all the money that's in there, I think we just have to call it off here, so I do call it off.
I got money at home, fuck it, alright.
Alright, guys, do you want to go once or twice?
Hold on, yeah, we're going once, yeah? Alright.
Once, yeah.
And we run into some terrible, terrible news. The straddler has a set of 7s, and the maniac on my right has ace 6 of diamonds, so we're just completely dead here. It's really, really unfortunate. The 7s end up holding for the main pot, and the ace high takes down the side pot, and we get felted. We're down like 600 at this point, and I'm really tilted because Not because of the situation, I think it's a perfectly reasonable spot to go broke here, but just because the table is so insanely tight, for the next few hours I was like clawing back like $10 pots at a time, and I kind of came to the realization that it would be really hard to get unstuck. This next pot is exactly one of the pots I'm talking about. So in this pot we open Ace King over a limp to $15 and get 3 callers. So we're 4 ways to a flop, and that flop comes down King Jack 7. I mean, top pair, top kicker, we have a monster, right? We go ahead and see about $40, and then the old woman just verbalizes raise. Says, yeah, she's making a min raise to $80. I'm like, oh my god, are you kidding me? You're never bluffing. Alright, fine. I mean, I'm super tilted, you can hear it in my voice. I just lay down top pair, top kicker, and yeah, she shows top 2 pair.
If we're making it 80, I mean, how can I ever be good here? What's the point? Just fold.
I mean, sure, we lose the minimum, but it's just really frustrating to have to be put in these spots.
It's just so... What is it? How can I fucking win? What's the point, you know?
I think something to keep in mind here is that I always like to act more tilted than I actually am. I'm really not at all bothered by these pots, contrary to how it sounds like in the clips, so I just wanted to put that disclaimer out there. In our next hand, we pick up pocket fours on the button, facing an open to 17 over a couple of limps, and we go ahead and call, and there's one other caller, so we're 3 ways to a flop, and the flop comes down Jack 6-4. The aggressor gives up the lead, he checks it to me, and it does look like everyone's about to fold. I toss in a green chip, everyone looks really uninterested, and I actually look to grab my cards to put them in the muck, just to indicate, you know, that I'm kind of done with this hand. And I'm not sure if anything, I've actually seen this tell a million times before on other people, and looking at it on myself, it's kind of like eye-opening, because I know that it's a pure indicator of strength. You know, it's kind of like, hey, I'm so strong, but I want to look like I'm ready to move on to the next hand. I'm just going to like look like I'm ready to muck my cards. And yeah, our opponent calls the flop. The turn is an 8, and he checks it to us one more time. We go ahead and bet $60, and he folds. So we take this one down after making a set. In our next hand, we look down at Jack 10 offsuit, and facing an $11 raise from the player on our right, looking to play some more pots with him, we go ahead and make the call. I believe we're 3 ways to a flop here, and that flop comes down Queen 9-8 with a flush draw, so we finally bink, we smash the nutters. And he goes ahead and makes a big bet. He bets $40 here, and just given the point in the night that we were at, it certainly felt like a scenario where I should be fast playing my hand. I go ahead and make it 120 to go after raising the flop, and he makes the call. The turn is a 6, and we retain the nuts, and we go ahead and bet 210 after he checks it to us, looking to, you know, purely maximize value here, just go for it all pretty much. And he makes the call once more, so you know, I guess at this point you can have a lot of 2-pair holdings, some combo draws too. I would expect him to call down with all of those despite being out of position. He certainly would chase those hands. The river is a queen, and it's not my favorite card at all, but I wasn't really thinking enough in the moment here, because I think if he ever had a full house, he would just lead out here. So when he actually did check it over to us, I make a really scared check back, and I don't know if I just like wasn't thinking clearly or not, but in hindsight this appears to be a really clear value bet, and a jam at that. I think we're at about like 350 left at that point, or I did at least. So yeah, I'm not really happy with how I played this hand. He ended up rolling over ace queen, and I was pretty shocked to see that hand. And I know it's not the way to think, but just because I would never have just a queen in this spot, I kind of think that, oh, he shouldn't either, and that's probably what was going through my mind at the time. But if I really dissected his ranges a little bit more, I probably could have found a value bet here, so it's a little bit unfortunate we didn't make the maximum. Lastly, we pick up ace queen offsuit and open to $15, and we have a bounty on the player in seat 5. She's a very tight player, and we thought it'd spice up the game a little bit if the player on my right and I had a bounty. We have $25 bounty on there, so anyone who stacks her picks up that 25. And after we open to 15, she goes ahead and jams 113, I believe it was, and she had just gotten stacked, so ace queen would be like an insta-fold any time of the week against this person, but if there's ever any time to call, it would be when there's a bounty on and when she's just got stacked, so she might be a little bit wider in jamming here. So we go ahead and make the call, run it once obviously, so we can collect the bounty, and the board comes ace high, and we take it down against kings. So we get a little bit lucky there, we get a rebate, and we get the bounty, so very nice pot for us.
Pretty lucky there, yeah, makes sense. Oh, the bounty.
So that's going to do it for today's video. For the results, we were in the game for 1600. At midnight, you actually can top up for 1k, and that's exactly what I did there. So that's how we managed to be in for 1600. We also cashed out for just over 1600. I tipped the overage. So I effectively came out of this session even. It was a really fun session, despite going on tilt a little bit there. And I hope you guys have enjoyed the recap. If you want to see what kind of shenanigans I get up to off the felt, please feel free to check out my Twitch stream. I'll leave the link in the description below. So I just want to thank everyone for tuning in. It's been a lot of fun, and I will strive to make weekly uploads in the future. So stay tuned for the next video. Other than that, have an amazing day, and I will catch you on the next one. Peace.